Hello, Mike Feltenberger, and I'm going to give you the High Banks highlights, a recap of the racing action at Grandview Speedway for Saturday night, July the 25th. It was a night with twin 20s for the crate Sportsman and a 30-lapper for the small block modifieds. First on the agenda was a tribute to Teresa Rogers, who passed away on Thursday, July the 23rd. All 85 drivers in attendance, as well as all the officials and all the infield staff, came to victory lane to show their respects to Teresa for what she had done to bring them to the Grandview Speedway. A fitting tribute. Kenny Rogers also had an emotional breakdown as he was thanking everyone in attendance for what they meant to Teresa, as she called everybody her fans and her drivers. So that was a tearjerker for many of the people in attendance, and the racing began right after that, and here's what happened. First up for the crate Sportsman, they had 4 heats, 2 consolations, 41 cars in attendance. Small block modifieds, 44 cars in attendance, with 4 heats and 2 consolations also needed for their 30-lap A-main. Getting the heat wins for the crate Sportsman were Taylor Kramer in the 22, Dylan Hope the 35X, Brad Brightbill in the 19, and Brett Grimm in the 611 was your 4th heat winner. 2 consolations were needed. They were won by Shannon Slaughter in the 53S, and getting the second consolation was T. Miller in the 917T. The first 20-lapper, it was sort of a yellow and red fest there for quite a few of the laps. And on lap number 2, we're hoping that Dylan Hoke is okay. He had a collision with TJ Mayberry over in turn 2 that shot the 35X head-on into the second turn wall. He had to be carried out of the race car, loaded onto the ambulance, and we're hoping all things are well with Dylan Hoke after his turn 2 incident on lap 2 of the first 20-lapper. Getting the win, Addison Meitzler, the 29G. Finishing second was the 9T of Joe Toth. Your third finisher was Adriana Delapani in the 22A. Teague Miller coming home 4th in the 917T. Brett Grimm, a strong showing in the 611, getting 5th. Jordan Henn, the 4R, finishing 6th. Actually, Jordan came into the feature. Joey Vaccaro was slated to start, but the car did not start on the speedway, got pushed into the pits. First alternate was needed. That was Jordan Henn in the 4R. He started 29th and came up to finish 6th, so an advancement of 23 spots in just 20 laps. Finishing 7th was the 59 of Colin Cox. The 7, Brett Gilmore, finishing 8th. The 9th finisher was the 14, Nate Brinker, coming into Grandview and making his presence known, finishing in the top 10 in the 14. And rounding out the top 10 was Jesse Landis. Jesse actually took a provisional, so he started way back in the field as well, coming from the 28th starting spot to get 10th at the checker. The Addison Meitzler victory interview was quite emotional. He thanked Teresa for what she has done to bring some great racing to the drivers and pit crews for the High Banks at Grandview, located off of Route 100 in Bechtelsville, PA. But once the racing was green, they had fantastic racing. A lot of mid-pack, 2, 3, and a couple of 4 wides along the way. But getting the win in the first 20-lapper was Addison Meitzler in the 23G. They needed a short break to get ready for their second 20-lapper modifieds. 4 heats were needed. Getting the first heat win, Bobby Butler in the 5B. Your second heat winner was Brett Cressley in the 19K. He came from 8th starting spot. Jeff Strunk getting the third heat win in the 6 over. Jeff came from the 10th starting spot. He was your last starter, and he rallied to get the heat 3 win. Ryan Belts in the 221, winning the 4th heat. 2 consolations again were needed. Kyle Smith in the 77 and Jared Umbenhauer in the 19 were the 2 consolation winners. That set the 28-car field for the 30-lap A-main. No provisionals were taken. Getting the win was Jeff Strunk in the 6 over, a last lap pass. He got aside of leader Brett Cressley underneath the starter stand going into turn 1. Took the low side. He was doing a lot of his passing on the high side. Took the low side heading into turn number 1. Cressley gave him some room, powering off of turn 2, grabbing the lead and the checker. Jeff Strunk in the 6 over, getting the win in the 30-lap small block modifieds. Brett Kresley did stay second in the 19K, with Loudon Reimert in the 16 getting third. Your fourth finisher was early race leader Ryan Belts in the 221. Ryan, looking rather strong, held the lead for quite a few laps, but a good solid top 5 finish for Ryan Belts in the 221. Ryan Watt, 14W, getting 5th. Other early race leader Mark Gogler, the 96X. Some fantastic upfront racing with him and Ryan Belts. Mark Gogler getting a top 10 finish with 6th. Tim Buckwalter in the 942, the Weller Racing 942, 7th. 53 of Mike Guler. In fact, Mike was as high as 3rd during the early runnings of the event, but falling back to 8th at the checker. Again, finishing in the top 10 was your current point leader, Eddie Strada, the Edge, getting 9th in the 33. And rounding out the top 10 was Anthony Perego. Perego actually had to come from the consolation to finish 4th, and I believe he got the hard charger going from 25th to 10th. So that's how things went down in the small block modifieds. Jeff Strunk, very emotional in victory lane, thanking Teresa Rogers for actually helping him with all aspects of his racing career, finding him rides when possible, and making sure that he was always there and racing at the high banks at Grandview. For the Victory Lane ceremonies, the whole Rogers family came in, joined Jeff Strunk in Victory Lane, again in honoring Teresa Rogers, who passed away on Thursday, July the 23rd. That set the stage for the great Sportsman second 20-lapper, and again 29 cars starting. Added to the field was Jimmy Leiby and Matt Martino, due to some of the cars from the first 20-lapper not being able to make the call. I believe those were Brad Brightville in the 19 and Steve Young in the 187. Joey Vaccaro's car did start, so he did make an appearance in the second 20 laps for the Crate Sportsman. Getting the win, finally putting a win in his belt, was Brett Grimm. Brett had that 611 all over the Speedway. He could run on the low side, he could run in the middle, and he could run on the top. And he said he actually watched the last few laps of the small block modified racing where Jeff Strunk was making a lot of his moves, and saw the middle to his liking and actually used it to get by to grab the race win. So congratulations to Brett Grimm getting the win in the 611. Finishing second, Chase Guler. Fantastic run for Chase in the 2G. Your third finisher was Jordan Henn in the 4R. Solid run. Solid night for Jordan Henn, getting in his first alternate in the first one and looking pretty strong in the second one for a third place finish. Shannon Slaughter, one of your consolation winners, getting fourth in the 53S. The 973, Jesse Landis, took a provisional in the first race and had 2 top 10 finishes. Adriana Delapani getting 6th in the 22A. Nate Brinker, another top 10 finish in the 14, getting 7th. Your 8th place finisher was Teague Miller, consolation winner in the 917T. 9th going to the 83 of Decker Swinehart, and rounding out your top 10, the 9T Joe Toth. That's how things went down. Brett actually thanked Mama T. He called her Mama T for giving them a place to race, and thanked her for what she has done for the race teams in general. So that's how things went down. Also, the hard charger of the second one, I believe, is Joey Vaccaro, going from 27th to 14th at the end of the 20 laps. So after not being able to get the 53 started in the first 20, Joey rebounds to get the hard charger in the second 20. Also, anybody that's interested, the 2027 Grandview Gladiator calendars are out. They were selling them at the novelty stand. I also have them, so if you want to give me contact me on getting one, just message me on Facebook. I will gladly get a calendar out to you. And again, hopefully everybody all is well. Hope to see you back at the Grandview Speedway for another night of racing action Saturday night, August the 1st. Please be safe and have an enjoyable week.